Welcome. Today I'm going to be breaking down one of the biggest tracks in my music career thus far. It's not one of my own original tracks. It was an instrumental track that I made for Simon Sevida's 300k subscriber melody contest. Basically, I'm going to describe the process of how I made the song, how I choose the melody from the pack that he provided. I've been following Simon since he first got his channel started from doing the exact same thing. He competed in a Kyle Beats remix contest, and that's what jump-started his career. So today I'm going to be breaking down how I made an AJR type beat and my thought process behind the track to appeal to Simon. So the first thing I did, obviously, was download the 300k melody pack that Simon Sevida had provided on his YouTube channel. I listened through all the melodies, and I picked the one that sounded the most like something Simon would play on his piano. I notice in his videos, whenever he plays piano, he's really passionate and he gets really into picking the right chords and having the right feelings. And this particular melody gave me that kind of feeling. So within that melody he provided, there were a couple different parts. There was this main piano part, and then there was a more complex part that introduces a mini bass line underneath it, and then there was a section that has little horns in it. And so when you're doing a melody challenge, having different parts like that really gives you an opportunity as a producer to show off how to structure something out like a song. So for this particular challenge, since I knew Simon was going to write over it, it was important that I structured it properly so that he can add what he wanted to add on top of it. So the first thing I remember doing was wanting to fill in these little gaps in the track here. So in my mind, I heard something that echoed the melody, almost like a little whistle. I pitched up the sample, drenched it in some reverb, some distortion, did this weird filtering effect, a lot of EQ, so that it would fill in those parts, almost like a callback. And it was important to me to not overkill it with the echo and delay. That's why I didn't just duplicate the whole thing. I picked specific parts to fill in those gaps. Next, I wanted to add some suspense to the introduction. So I added in a little Reese bass line from a free plugin called Tyrell N6, one of my favorite free plugins. Then I brought in some symphonies from Labs, from Spitfire. I used Contact to do kind of like a filter sweep synthesizer. And so that part of the intro sounds like this. So the thing that was important to me in this next part was capturing that AJR feeling. The most iconic things in their songs are their marching band, bluesy type drums that mix with this trap feeling. The first thing I did to achieve that was add in these marching band snares. And then I just added in a kick. I wanted to have a little bit of a swing feeling to it, because I felt like that was something that a lot of other producers weren't going to do with these melodies. And then I added in just a second snare. Next, I added in this off-rhythm rim shot that just appears right before the main snare. Then I added in these little auto-panned toms that shift really quickly from right to left to give kind of a spacious effect. Then over top of this, I added in a mid-bass line. And that's basically it right before the drop, but I wanted it to feel a little bit more AJR-like, but without adding too much chaos to it so that Simon could add his own touch to it. What I did to achieve this was I grabbed little vocal chops from the Bimsquick sample pack. Bisquik? It's Bisquick, Forrest, and Atwood's sample pack. I grabbed some of their screams and shouts and like drenched them in auto-tune and reverb. drop. What I did for this was copy over pretty much the exact same thing from the verse, except I got rid of that snare line, and then I added in some trap hi-hats. And that one plays a basic triplet rhythm in the back. Then I made another hi-hat pattern on a completely different hi-hat that mimicked the same pattern as the snare rolls from the beginning of the first verse. And those are auto-panned a little bit. And it's pretty much the exact same thing, except I used a different part of the sample that had horns in it so that it would have more impact. The main thing that gives the drop energy is this really thick 808 that mimics the exact same pattern as the other 808, but it's just heavy. And so the drop altogether sounds like this. And so the rest of the song actually is the exact same thing. It repeats and nothing actually changes. It's the exact same parts. The only thing is on the last drop I wanted there to be a little bit more emphasis on it, so I created a little bridge. Because I really wanted this ba 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 right before the drop. So I chopped up the sample at the end so that it would sound like it was doing that. And so what I did to emphasize that was to have the final part of the drum pattern match that as well. I took the main kick, the drum roll snare, the main snare, as well as some crash cymbals, and I put that all together. And I brought in the Labs violin and the contact synthesizer from the intro back in here with a different filter cutoff to kind of bring some energy in. I brought back the snare roll line in this section, as well as the hi-hats from the drop. Then I added in some white noise and crowd ambience to kind of add some energy to it. The bridge altogether sounds like this. And then the last drop hits, and there's a little bit of an outro, which is actually the drop with a slightly different bass line. And that's it. Alright, so that's how I made my track for the Simon Sevida 300K contest. Be sure to watch his video linked below so you can see the final product to see what he did with the song. I just want to say thank you to Simon for giving me this opportunity, and if you guys ever want to compete in any contests, hopefully this will help you guys. Alright, other than that, be sure to subscribe, turn on the bell notification. All my socials are below, as well as my original music is on Spotify, and you can hear the final product on Simon's channel, so I'm actually going to play my original music in the outro. So if you hear something you like, go check out my Spotify. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I thought you had my back, then you hit me with that text, felt like a heart attack. I don't know what you'll do next. I thought you had my back, then you hit me with that stress and anxiety. There's no way I'll bounce back. Thought I could tame the flame inside you.